Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Richard Sachs, Provost and VPAA at University of Rio Grande and Rio Grande Community College. And for Voice of Rio Grande this afternoon, I'm delighted to have our two executive interns from the President's and Provost's office, Maddison Siders and Kaylynn Bell, who are with me here on the panel. Maddie is a Galley Academy High School grad. Kaylynn is a Hillsborough High School grad. They've both been executive interns in the President's office and Provost's office this year. And I would put these two executive interns up against any executive interns in the country at any size. They are both excellent students and wonderful people to have in the office. So let's talk to Maddie first. I know you're a local Galley Academy High School grad.
Yes.
And you do a number of different things in addition. Tell us first what it means to be an executive intern. I think some people in the audience will know, but what is your day like? What is your and Kaylynn's day like generally?
I think it was definitely like an opportunity to work on like professionalism, and that's something like getting ready to go into the work field when I graduate. So I've really worked on my professionalism, and we do a lot of things like we answer the phone when someone calls or if someone comes into the office. We just make sure that they're comfortable, and if they get what they need, we offer them water. Or sometimes if we just have a random task that you or Dr. Johnson ask us to do, we try to help you in any way that we can.
Okay, great. Anything you want to add to that, Kaylynn? I know you've done some interesting things, like you both have, like on Saturdays with board meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Kaylynn, I heard that funny story about you driving in Seth Lawrence's vehicle up to the Vinton campus last night, and then he showed the picture of, was it a small Chevy that had been wrecked? That
yes.
he had wrecked. So I'm starting to be a little bit concerned about your welfare. Should you really be in a car with Seth Lawrence the way he drives? But what sorts of other things? I know the president has pushed both of you, or pulled both of you into a number of different activities.
Like you said about the board meetings, I work on Fridays primarily. That's when I get in most of my hours, and I've assisted both Annette and the president in different various tasks as far as that goes. Other projects that we've been included in, like the District Science Day, where we volunteered to help out Dr. Means and stuff like that. And like Maddie said, it's a really good opportunity to work on my professionalism and work with different people that I wouldn't have expected to work with prior to, but I think it's just a really good opportunity overall.
That's great. Now, Maddie, you've been part of bringing back the cheer squad here at Rio, and
Yes.
I've been here 3 years, and a couple years ago it was kind of weak, and then last year we didn't have anything, and this year suddenly there are 6 cheerleaders. You have beautiful outfits. You did a great job. Tell us about how the cheer squad's come back. And I know, talking with Taylor Knoll, the cheerleader coach, she's planning for 12 next year, right?
Yes. So actually my freshman year here, we actually had a coach, and I tried out and made it, but the season didn't actually go anywhere. We actually just quit before it all started because I think our coach quit. So then we had another coach this year, and we got a good group of girls together, and we cheer at all of the home basketball games, and we even got to go to an away game at Shawnee. And
And I probably shouldn't say this aloud, but we're budgeting for next year.
Yeah.
And Taylor wants to maybe take 2 or 3 trips next year, and we're trying to find room in next year's budget so you can do a little bit more traveling so that your team can.
yeah, and we actually just did a fundraiser as well. We did a River City Leather Bingo.
Right.
And we raised a lot of money so we can do other things in the future. And we're actually thinking about going to a camp this summer. And like Dr. Sachs just said, we actually are trying to get more girls on our team next year. And we actually have had a few girls contact us, and we've gone to see them and tried to recruit other girls for our team next year.
That's great. And those last 2 pictures we saw were from last Saturday night with the River City
Yes.
fundraiser. How do you have that tie-in? That's a beautiful shop in downtown Gallipolis, right next to Courtside. Are there cheerleaders with connections, or was it Taylor?
Well, I actually know the owners really
okay.
well, but there's actually a lot of River City Leather Bingos in town now, and they actually give us a really awesome discount so we can put on something like that. And we actually had a lot of sponsors who purchased the purses for us and all of the other prizes, so we weren't out any money. So our fundraiser, it was all profit for us, thanks to our sponsors.
Wonderful. That's great. Good. Now, Kaylynn, you've been in 2 of my honors classes, and I know that You're one of the leaders in the honors program, and last night you were inducted into Phi Theta Kappa, which is the Honor Society for community colleges. I want to talk about your work in intercollegiate sports later, but can you tell us about anything that you think the audience might be interested in terms of honors or PTK?
Well, last weekend I actually had the opportunity to travel to Eastern Michigan University as part of the MIHA conference. MIHA means Mideast Honors Association. And that was a really good opportunity. I had the chance to present my research and as well as look at other people's research and kind of get more ideas and stuff like that. But if I wasn't an honor student, I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. And
you're a sports and exercise studies major,
I am, yes.
And you're interested in physical therapy, a career
Yes,
in physical
sir.
therapy.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about MIHA. 20 years ago, when I was a much younger college professor in Michigan, I took an honors group down to University of Dayton for a MIHA conference, and it was wonderful because every student there is interested. Every student is really excited, and I know you're very science and medical and physical motion and movement based. Is that what your research was on that you presented there?
My research was actually on whether or not negative feedback affects performance.
Oh, that's interesting.
In the athletic realm, that was kind of my, basis of my research. The way I did it was I surveyed all the coaches from the university here, and then I asked them how they showed negative feedback and how they showed positive feedback. Most of the coaches couldn't give me an answer when I asked them how they showed positive feedback.
Oh, that's interesting.
But then I compiled a survey, and I learned that self-confidence is also a huge variable. So I compiled a survey, and I distributed it to the athletes at the university, and, distributed the surveys, got the collection back, and then basically my hypothesis was proved wrong. It showed me that negative coaching feedback does not, in fact, affect performance. But I do believe that that's because student athletes, their self-confidence levels are already so high, so it's really hard to bring them down.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and that research can be used in any environment that gives feedback to a subordinate. So I would really like the opportunity to kind of expand it further and then see if my hypothesis could be proven right that way.
That's fascinating. You've heard a little bit about my very modest basketball career, but back in the 70s when I played Division III basketball, the coach would just ridicule you. I mean that was standard even in the 70s, and I've heard it was even worse in my parents' generation. The coach, Sax, you're so slow, you're so fat. I don't want you taking a shot if you're beyond 10 feet from the basket, that kind of thing, really tearing you down. And we just thought that's part of what's going on. By the time I coached at prep school level in the early 80s and then coached my own kids in youth sports, every time I took a kid out of a basketball game, I put my arm around him or her. Okay, you got to do this. Okay, you're doing well. You missed all 4 free throws, but that's okay. And I would try to give them positive feedback. And I remember the parents loved it, but my wife telling me at the time, stop praising the kid each time. Just bring him out, tell him to sit down and grab some water. So there certainly are different theories about what happens. And I don't want to take up more time on this, but I've got to tell you a story about Hannah something when I was coaching my daughter's 8th grade team. She had no confidence but lots of speed. And I gave her her best year, and then I didn't coach her in 9th and 10th grade, and she's sitting on the bench. But I said, you're the fastest person on the court. Burn it down, take it to the hoop if you can, otherwise pass. And she did that. And before and after, she didn't have coaches giving her confidence. So when you said that topic, I guess it really does depend on the individual.
Right, absolutely.
And some people it just doesn't matter, and others it does. Well, that's fascinating. You're both student ambassadors, which is a very important role here. Maddie, can you talk about some of your experiences in being a student ambassador and the kinds of things that they do here?
Well, when students come here for a college visit, there are student ambassadors who give them tours, and I think it's really important for them to see, like, from a student perspective, like, what they will be encountering here. So it's really neat to go around and just show the students like my experience here, tell them about my experience at Rio, and just show them all of the wonderful things that Rio has to offer. And I think it puts it more on a personal level when it's coming from another student rather than coming from someone who is like faculty at the university.
Good point. Okay. Kaylynn, tell us about your work in Student Senate. I mean, we believe in faculty self-governance. We also believe that students should have at least a strong role in determining some of the things that happen on campus.
Oh, absolutely. We're actually trying to, we redid the Constitution this year. Seth Lawrence overtook the job as, the head of Student Senate last year, and he decided to completely revamp it. But we are doing it to where we have 15 subcategories, and we need a representative from each subcategory. These subcategories include like the School of Arts and Letters, the nursing school, representatives from the Jackson and Vinton and Meigs branches. So I think that's a really cool opportunity. I think that it's good to have so everyone can have a voice, and we want to reach out. Like, we don't want this to be just a main campus type of thing. We want to have someone who represents the commuter students, someone who represents the other branches, so we can get everybody involved and make everyone feel like, they're a part of something.
That's wonderful. That's great. And I think you're right that we need to do more for commuting students too, to make them part of campus life. That's an excellent point. We don't have any physical fraternities and sororities here, but we have some fairly strong social fraternities and sororities. And I know, Maddie, you told me you're part of the Alpha Mu Beta sorority. Can you tell me about the kinds of activities that they support and what that provides for you?
Well, we actually do a lot of other activities with the other members of Greek life, so all the other fraternities and sororities. Like this past weekend, we had Greek games, but we also try to engage in other things to help the school. We have done campus cleanups, and we also throw social events in our conference room C for all of the other students here at Rio too.
Okay. So do you attend the All Greek Council meetings, or does somebody from your
We
sorority
have a
do that?
representative.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. And that seems to be a really strong organization on campus. Kaylynn, you know how much I've enjoyed watching you play basketball this last year. And Coach Dave Smalley won his 500th victory in 25 years, and you can do the math, that's 20 victories a year. And I know women's basketball generally has one of the highest grade point averages and highest completion rates on campus. So clearly Coach Smalley is recruiting academically and athletically talented young women who finish. But tell us what it's like to be a college athlete. And again, there's so many different things you're balancing. And now at the same time, you're practicing or playing hours a day, which makes you exhausted, which sets back your homework and everything else. But what's it like to be a college athlete and balancing all those things?
Being a college athlete is like having a full-time job, as well as going to school full-time and, being involved in extracurricular activities full-time. But it's a great opportunity. There are scholarships involved, stuff like that, try to get, your school paid for. And I think that being at Rio really helps me with the whole time management thing and scheduling thing, because we have such a big, a lot of our students are athletes. So, we're all in the same boat. We all know what it's like. We all know that, we have an 8 a.m. class, but we didn't get back from the bus until 2 o'clock in the morning. We know that struggle, and I think that having people around me that are in the same boat as me really helps.
Right. And I would generally say, having coached and played intercollegiate sports, having coached and also played intercollegiate sports, it's a real results-oriented medium. So, an athlete never says, oh, I would have hit the free throw, but, my arm hurts a little bit. You would never say that to a coach. It's just results. Are you going to get this done? And oftentimes I find some of the best coworkers I have are people who played team sports, not individual sports like golf or tennis, where they were on their own, but a team sport like basketball or soccer or football, where many times you have to kind of give it up for the team or do something on behalf of the team that may not help you a whole lot. So that's an interesting dynamic. Now, most of our athletic schedule is Ohio Valley, both sides of the river. So Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, sometimes Indiana. But the women's basketball team went to Puerto Rico in December, right?
We did.
Okay, tell us about that.
Hands down, probably a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It was really cool. We went down there to play in the Puerto Rico Classic. Bunch of schools from all over the place came down there, but we actually had the opportunity to play 3 games, and they were from, or our opponents were 3 teams from Puerto Rico. Like I said, it was a really cool experience. Got to not only play down there, but we also got to visit, old San Juan and stuff like that, and that was also my first time being on a plane, so.
Really?
After
Wow.
after I went over that nerve-wracking experience.
Yeah, now I'm so naive about this. Puerto Rico is a possession of the United States, but it's not a state. It's like a
It
territory
is.
or
So
something.
no, we didn't have to bring passports if anybody has
was my
that question.
Yes, yeah. So just an American driver's license is sufficient to get to Puerto Rico. And
Absolutely.
That's interesting because you need a passport anywhere else in the Caribbean. And I know it was right before Christmas, so it was like December 20th or something.
Yeah,
but
I think we
what-
went December 20th through 23rd, so as soon as we got back, Coach Smalley said, all right, go have Christmas. So,
So was it much warmer there? Was it classic Caribbean?
I got to be on the beach in December with my feet or knee deep in the water. And I
okay.
think that is just the coolest thing. It ranged anywhere between, 75 and 85. White beaches, clear water. It was really nice.
Yeah.
I wish we could stay longer, actually.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad you had that experience. And I know I had Karen Elliott, our Spanish professor, translate some admissions copy into Spanish so that ideally people could hand off some things there.
It was actually ironic because when we were down there, we went and visited Rio Grande. And we have on these, University of Rio Grande t-shirts and stuff like that, and people are asking us if we're local.
Oh, wow.
Do I look Puerto Rican? Do I look like I live in Puerto Rico? No.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, really great experience.
What fun. That's great. Well, listen, we're down to just about 7 or 8 more minutes, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about your future that I really don't know about. Let's start with Maddie first. What's your major, and when do you hope to graduate, and do you have any post-college plans at this point?
Well, I am a social studies education major, grades 7 through 12, and I'm actually hoping to get a job right out of college at my home high school. I really want to teach U.S. government. That's kind of been my dream. But if I don't, I think I'm going to hold off getting a job and maybe continue my education here and get my master's degree in education. And yeah.
Okay, and your alma mater is Galley Academy High
Yes.
School? So do I have to pressure Roger Mace?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do what I can. Some days I think he likes me, and other days I'm not sure. So
You
I
can
may
tell
or-
Mr. Halchins that I'm coming for his job.
Okay,
He better
all right.
retire soon.
Okay, is he close to retirement age?
I would say so.
Okay, oh wow, okay. Okay, it's out on the airwaves, it's out. Okay, that's good. Okay, well, thanks. Kaylynn, tell us about your major and your hopeful graduation date. I know whenever I ask how many credits you're taking like 1.5 times as much as anybody else should. So I know you're going to graduate too soon for us, but probably not soon enough for you.
I'm actually currently a sports and exercise studies major. I'm also a minor in biology. Like you said, I'm 19 credit hours deep right now. I took 19 credit hours the semester before that, and yeah, it's been crazy. Anyway, I plan on graduating in spring of 2019, and then hopefully, prior to that, I will be applying to different graduate schools, different doctorate and physical therapy programs. So hopefully fall of 2019 I will be admitted, and there I will spend 3 more years and hopefully obtain my doctorate in physical therapy.
Okay, great. And then are you interested in going to a health club or going to a college? Or?
I've actually done a lot of, observation hours and field work so far, and I've learned that I can't be picky. So I've done some observation hours in outpatient clinics, which is what I experienced when I had my knee surgery. That's actually the reason why I decided I wanted to go into physical therapy. My freshman year, my fall semester, I was on the soccer team, and I ended up tearing my ACL, my MCL, my LCL, and both sides of my meniscus.
Oh my word.
So,
I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yes, so post-knee surgery, I went through the whole physical therapy ordeal, and I kind of got, inspired. So in reality, I may have missed a whole year of soccer and a whole year of basketball, but I think it's one of the biggest blessings in disguise because now I can really say that I know what I want to do with my life.
Wow.
So an outpatient clinic to work with people like me would be ideal. But I mean, if I'm in a nursing home, I'd like to nurse them back to health. If I'm, in a hospital, I'll do it that way. Like I said, I've learned you can't be picky.
Yeah. Well, I've had 8 arthroscopic knee surgeries, not ACL or MCL. That's serious business that you had 5 on the right and 3 on the left. And several times I was told to go to a physical therapist, and it was always helpful. It gave me certain exercises that helped, and generally it was a little painful to do them, but supposedly it accelerates the convalescence and whatever else.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So for people who are watching this nationwide and worldwide and don't know the area well, I know that Maddie is a hometown Gallipolis girl, right? And you're from Hillsboro, Ohio, which I've told you repeatedly is the center of Ohio folklore, both Euro-American and American Indian folklore. And I still haven't figured out why that is, but those of you who might be interested, there's a great book called Buckeye Legends, and it's either Ohio State U Press or Case Western Reserve Press, and it talks about folk tales from Ohio, and 70% are from Hillsboro. I don't know why, from your hometown. But tell people what it is you like. We don't have enough time to tell people what it is you don't like. I mean, are there restaurants? Is it going along the river? Is it going into the woods? Maddie first.
It's really close to Gallipolis. Like Rio Grande is only about a 10-minute drive to Gallipolis, and even Gallipolis itself is totally just I would say like a new town. There is the Downtown Revitalization Project right now, and they've been doing a lot of work in our community to help local businesses start up. And I just think it's a wonderful place to be, and I think it's even a great place to stay after college to stay and raise families.
Yeah. The Genealogical Society's been torn out. Is something going in there? It looks like they're next to the one theater. Do you know?
I think that was, there were like problems with the building, like it may have.
Oh, really?
The one that was on the corner, I don't know if that's.
Oh, no, not the one on the corner, the one almost right next to Colony Club.
Oh, yeah. I think there's a new business going in there, but I don't.
Like it, because
I don't
they've
know what it
scooped
is
everything
yet.
out, and now something's going back in, but there's no sign or anything.
Yeah.
And downtown Gallipolis is really beautiful. I live right there in the park and looking across to West Virginia. And actually, during the summer, there's something almost every weekend there.
Yes.
Now, are you involved in the river wreck and the?
I was River Rat Queen in 2015.
That's why I associate you with that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I have a funny story. I'm not sure if I can tell it. How much time do we have left? Because I want to hear. Okay, this is real quickly. The first year I'm here, I start July 1. River Wreck was like July 3rd. So I'm back in my second floor apartment, and I'm quickly, it's like the day before, the July 4th weekend, and I'm quickly changing clothes to drive up to Cleveland, and I'm running around in boxer shorts, and suddenly a beautiful girl in a diaphanous gown floats across the second floor window, and I'm thinking, I didn't see that. And then another one does it, and so you know what it was? It was the young ladies, and maybe you were one of them. This was 2014. Like on the backs of cars or whatever,
Yeah,
being
the
driven
parade.
in, and it was like almost even with my second floor apartment, which really kind of freaked me out because I thought, I'm awake, like this is not a dream. But so that's my story about that. I'm sorry if I took too much time on that. Kaylynn, I know you work so much. You're in so many sports and other things. I know you're from Hillsboro, which is about an hour and a half from here. Is that
It's
about
an
right?
hour and 45, but if I drive a little faster, I can make it in an hour and a half.
Okay, yeah, I was worried about the 10 minutes because I drive 588 every day, and it takes me 14 minutes, and I've got a turbo. So I don't know if I want to ride with her if she can do it in 10. But tell us what you've enjoyed about this area. I know you don't have enough time or money to go out and enjoy restaurants and things like that, probably, but
Rio is far enough away from home to get the college experience, but close enough to where if I need to go home, I can. And I think that's really what pulled me in, as well as, the teacher to student ratio is so low. Plus being an honor student, if we have double digits in our classrooms, we think that's a big class.
Right.
And like I said, I had opportunities to go to bigger schools and stuff like that, but I really like this hometown feel and stuff like that. So.
Well, great. Well, remember the names of the two ladies on the show today, Maddison Siders and Kaylynn Bell. This is not the last time They're going to be on the internet. This is not the last time you're going to hear about them. Two extraordinary young students here. We're delighted to have them in the President and Provost's office. And thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good afternoon, folks. See you soon, I hope.